Hello everyone, today I'm here to do another romance trope type of video. So I've done a lot of these on my channel, especially over the last few months. I'm trying to do like every romance trope there is. I've done Hate to Love. Hopefully I'll be doing another Hate to Love one too, because there's so many Hate to Love books. I've done a Friends to Lovers. I've done a fake dating one, and here we are with second chance romances. So what are second chance romance books? Second chance romance books are, you start a book and the couple has already had some sort of past, and maybe they run into each other again many years later, and it's all about them discovering their love for each other again, aka second chance at romance. So today I'm talking about all of the second chance romance books that I really love and adore and would highly recommend. First up, I'm going to talk about my favorite second chance romance book because I just have to, and that is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. This is their most epic love story, I would say. If you don't know Christina Lauren, they write predominantly romance books that are kind of just lighthearted. This one's more of an epic sprawling love story. That's how I always explain it. But basically, this book takes place in two timelines. We follow Macy, who meets this boy named Elliot when she's young, and they begin to be friends, and of course they fall in love, and some tumultuous thing happens. It's kind of like the formula for second chance romance, and it breaks them up, and they haven't seen each other for many, many years. So much so that Macy is now what is she doing? She is a new pediatrics resident, and she's planning her wedding to an older, more financially secure guy. And then who does she run into but the love of her life, that got away, that ended horribly, Elliot. So they start to spend more time together, and of course you can guess what happens. Feelings emerge again. You get to discover how they fell in love, how they fell apart, and how they're reconnecting again. It is a beautiful book, one of my favorite Christina Lauren books that I always highly recommend. It is my favorite second chance romance of all time. Next up, I have After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I don't know if a ton of people would consider the second chance romance, but for me, I definitely do. It is a romance book that's basically about Lauren and Ryan, and they begin the book married, and their marriage is falling apart at the beginning of the book. You can see the cracks forming already into it. And so they decide, instead of going straight to divorce, they decide to take a year apart for them to discover who they are again, and maybe they'll fall in love again if it's meant to be. So basically this whole book is about their year apart, about Lauren discovering who she really is without Ryan, and if she really does truly love Ryan, and vice versa with Ryan as well. This says this is a love story about what happens when the love fades. It's about staying in love, seizing love, forsaking love, and committing to love with everything you've got. And above all, After I Do is the story of a couple caught up in an old game and searching for a new road to happily ever after. To me, it's a second chance romance book because this couple is pretty much calling it quits, but they decide maybe, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. So it is a second chance romance book, and it is a great Taylor Jenkins Reid book. Taylor Jenkins Reid, if you don't know, she's a very popular author. The last three books have been kind of historical, literary fiction, if you will, but her previous ones have all been kind of romance, chick-lit-y type of books, dare I say, but I love and adore After I Do. It's definitely about a couple that falls apart, and hopefully you're rooting for them to get back together. Next up, we have The Dating Plan by Sarah Decide. This was also in my fake dating book video. Now, one romance book can have multiple tropes. I said it. I truly believe it. This one, I think, is fake dating and second chance romance. That's just my opinion. So in this book, we follow a character named Daisy, who is a software engineer, and basically she runs into her old flame, Liam, who it was her brother's older best friend, which is another trope I'm thinking about making a video for, because I've read so many brothers older best friend trope books, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, she runs into Liam again. He, like I said, is her older brother's best friend. She's had a crush on him forever. They were supposed to go to prom together, and then he ditched her. So she's like, I hate you. So of course they run into each other many years later, and basically they have to form this fake dating relationship. But it is, I would say it's predominantly fake dating. I will say that. But I do believe it does have second chance romance in it, because there was feelings once there, and the feelings are emerging again. That's why I count as a second chance romance book. I really enjoyed it. It's a great fake dating book. It's a great second chance romance book, and a great see me book as well. Then You Deserve Each Other. This is kind of similar to After I Do, but not as many people enjoy this book. I'm actually one of the few that really loves this book. I loved it because I think for me, I love really reading about a relationship, the really core dynamic of a relationship, the ins and out of it. I really love those. But this is a book about Naomi who has a fiance named Nicholas, and you think everything's picture perfect, but in reality, like, Naomi hates Nicholas for some reason, for lots of reasons you discover in the book. And she like wants to get out of the wedding, but she can't because she knows that if she backs out now, she's going to have to pay for a lot of it for herself, and she cannot afford that. So she's like, hey, maybe if I get him to back out, it'll just, it'll end and everything will be good and we'll never see each other again happily ever after. And she discovers that Nicholas, has also been not happy in this relationship for a while. And basically the whole book is about them going head to head and like pranking and battling and being mean. And this book, I can understand why people don't love it. I could totally get it because both the characters are so immature and it takes them forever to grow up. I'm like, you guys got engaged, but yeah, you hate each other, but you can't communicate that towards each other. It's annoying. They both are just so immature in this book, but I loved it because it did take them a while, yes, to grow up and to realize, hey, maybe I'm not a perfect person. Maybe I'm contributing not the best things to the relationship, and maybe I need to do something. But they finally come together, and it is beautiful, and I do enjoy it for that matter. It just took forever to get there. So it is a second chance romance book because these people like loathe each other at the beginning of this book. They're like, I can't believe I'm going to marry you. I don't want to marry you. I hate you. And, as the book goes on, feelings, start to maybe happen of why they actually did fall in love in the first place. And they get reminded of that. So it is a book not for everyone. I will say that. There's a lot of people that don't like it. Totally understand it. But it is a second chance romance book. Hence why I'm talking about it. Next up, we have Anchored Hearts by Priscilla Oliveira. This is the sequel to Island Affair, which Island Affair was actually in my fake dating book. So this one is a second chance romance book. We follow two characters, Anna Maria and Alejandro. Anna Maria lives in the Keys of Florida, and she has a great family. She's got a great business, and she had a high school sweetheart named Alejandro. Everything was going really good, but he really wanted out of Florida. He was like, I want to be a famous photographer. I want to travel the world. But Anna Maria didn't really want that. She has a lot of family that she's tied to in Florida, so she couldn't leave. So Alejandro just pieces out, leaves her, doesn't talk to her for many years later until he comes back to Florida after an accident where his legs broken and things like that. And Anna Maria is like a firefighter paramedic. So she goes over to help him a lot. Of course, romance gets rekindled and things like that. This is not my favorite second chance romance book, I'll say it, but it is a true second chance romance book. These were high school sweethearts. They fell in love, and what broke them apart was wanting two very, very different things. And, second chance romances are very interesting because usually that is a lot of the breakups, is wanting two different things. And when they get back together, they learn about compromise and feeling, what the other one wants and really abiding by that. And again, compromise. But it's a okay one. It's not my favorite second chance romance book, but it's a great one to read in summer, even though I'm putting this out in fall. Maybe save it till next summer. I don't know. Then I have two K.A. Tucker books that are both second chance romances. The first one being Say You Still Love Me. This one is again another summary one. I apologize, but we're talking about second chance romances, so here we are. This is about Piper, who's like a big shot where her dad's company is, and then she runs into Kyle Miller, her old camp flame, who is like the new security guard for her building. And things are rocky. They left off in a rocky relationship back at camp. He doesn't apparently remember her name at all. And she's like, we were in love like a long time ago. Like, remember that when we went to camp together? We're counselors. You were like the boy from the wrong side of the tracks, and I was just the girl that didn't want to be a counselor. And then we fell in love, and he doesn't remember her name. And so the book kind of goes on from there with them getting to know each other again. Why Kyle doesn't know Piper's name, wink, wink. You can probably guess what's gonna happen. Again, this is not one of my favorite second chance romances books, but I do love K. Tucker books. I will say time and time again, my favorite book by her is The Simple Wild, which I think a lot of us can attest to, but this is a good second chance one that's perfect for the summer. So again, it's the fall. Maybe save it for the summertime. Do with it what you will. And the other K. Tucker second chance romance book is The Player Next Door. This is all about Scarlett, who returns back to kind of her childhood home after being away for 12 years. She's going to be a teacher. She's looking for a fresh start, and she buys a house, and who should be her neighbor but Shane. Shane was her high school sweetheart, like the high school quarterback. They were the it couple, and he just broke her heart to a million smithereens, and she just was sent running. She was like, I gotta get out of here. So she left town and hasn't come back for 12 years. So what a way to come back. Not only, you know, you see your ex-flame, but he's your neighbor. And so they start talking again. You can connect the dots. Typical kind of formula as always. I did like this one more than Say You Still Love Me. I will say that, because I felt like the connection was better between Shane and Scarlett. I enjoyed it more, but it's an okay second chance romance. It's not one of my favorites, but if you're just looking for a solid one, I'd recommend it. And then we have Hate to Want You by Alicia Rye. This is a very steamy one, so just so you're aware of that. This is about Livy and Nicholas, who every year for like one night on her birthday, they get together and that's it. They used to be in love, high school sweethearts, but their families hate each other. Think of kind of like a Romeo and Juliet situation. The Montagues versus the Capulets. They can't talk to each other. And basically she has to move back home to help her family, and she starts working at a tattoo shop. And so she sees Nicholas a lot more, and things are starting to get heated up again because they see each other one night every year and don't tell anybody about it, but now they're seeing each other a lot more. So this is an interesting one. Like I said, it's kind of got a Romeo and Juliet vibe to it because they're supposed to be sworn enemies, but they can't help control their attraction to each other. Also, again, it's very steamy. I enjoyed it, would highly recommend it. Then I have a couple books that I don't know. This video is going up sometime in September, I think, and I'm pre-filming it months early. Yes. That's just how it is right now. There's a couple books that maybe by the time this video has gone out, I have read already, but as of filming right now, I haven't, but I want to read. Does that make any sense? Just roll with me here. I have A Lot Like Adios by Alexis Dario. This is the second book of hers that I read, and this one is about Michelle, and she has a Puerto Rican Italian family, and basically she fell in love with this guy who disappeared like 13 years ago. That was the only guy she was ever in love with, and who shall enter the picture so randomly and at the right time? Gabriel, who left the Bronx at 18, and so he goes to California where she is, and basically he's running like a gym, I think, and he needs help with her with working and things like that, and so they have to team up together, and of course feelings emerge. I haven't read this one yet, but I really loved her book, You Had Me at Hola, so I'm very excited for this one. But it's a second chance romance book, so I thought I would talk about it. I haven't read it yet. Hopefully I'll love it. The other one is The Shoddy Set Up by Lily Vale. This one is about a girl named Rita and Milan, who were high school sweethearts. The sense of trend with a lot of second chance romances are a lot of high school sweethearts that broke up, that reconnect many years later. It's a formula. I still love it. He broke her heart. Also usually the case, and it's 6 years later, and now she has like furniture restoration as a career, and Milan needs her help so surprisingly. So it's not like a lot like Adios, because they're both have to work together in the same capacity, but they kind of are mad at each other. But those are two second chance romance books that I haven't read yet that are on my radar. Hopefully I've read them by the time this video goes up. Fingers crossed. Who knows? But I would love to know if you have any favorite second chance romance books. As always, I forget some because I haven't read every romance book under the sun. I'm trying to. It just is going to take a long time. But I would love to know which ones are your favorite and which ones you would recommend. If you loved any of these, also let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.